Corpus Christi's Texas Terry Labonte broke into the NASCAR Winston Cup Series in 1978 with owner Billy Hagan. He finished in the top 10 in each of his first 3 events, turning that success into a full-time ride for 1979. Labonte would capture his first victory in thrilling fashion, winning the 1980 Southern 500 by leading only the final 2 laps in his Apache Classic Stove Chevrolet. While he did finish top 5 in the point standings in 1981 and 1982, it would be over 3 years until he collected his second victory. That triumph came in the 1983 Warner W. Hagan American 500 at North Carolina Speedway. He followed that up in 1984 with wins at Riverside and Bristol and cemented himself as NASCAR's newest young star by taking home the 1984 Winston Cup Series championship.
1985 and 1986 did not see the continued success that Labonte hoped for, and he only won 1 race in each season, while failing to finish in the top 5 in the standings either. Terry had already driven 240 consecutive races and was well on his way to earning the Iceman moniker that he would soon be known by. He brought home the trophy in 6 of those events, had a championship to his name, and was still only 30 years old. He accomplished this all with the Hagan-owned team, not previously known as a powerhouse in the sport, but opportunity was about to come knocking at his door.
The 1987 season brought several changes to the sport, highlighted by Darrell Waltrip joining the up-and-coming Hendrick Motorsports. The brash 39-year-old veteran from Franklin, Tennessee had been the hottest driver on the circuit the last several years. Since joining forces with Junior Johnson in the 1981 season, Waltrip compiled 43 checkered flags and 3 championships in only 6 seasons. His decision to leave the team made the number 11 Budweiser Chevrolet the most sought-after opportunity in NASCAR. That opportunity went to Texas Terry as he and Johnson agreed to a 3-year contract. Labonte was expected to be a force to be reckoned with as he would be hitting the prime of his career with the top team in the sport. Unfortunately, it was not meant to be, and Labonte knew from the start that the relationship would not produce the success that both owner and driver hoped for. Being a man of his word, Terry honored the full 3 years of his contract. He would win 4 races in the 11 car, but saw his final points position steadily decline as he wound up 3rd in 1987, 4th in 1988, and a disappointing 10th in 1989.
Throughout his time with the team, Labonte had already begun making plans on where he would be taking his talents next. On July 9th of 1989, the Charlotte Observer's Tom Higgins wrote an article about the impending silly season. He reported that Terry would be fielding Oldsmobiles for his own team and quoted team owner Junior Johnson as saying, "Just taking a preliminary look at the situation, I'd say we're probably going to see more big changes than we ever have in a long time, maybe ever. It looks like there's going to be a lot of shakeups." Rumors had been circulating for weeks, but after his victory in the 1989 Talladega Die Hard 500, he made his intentions loud and clear. "We've got this thing going a lot better. Getting better with our new Ford all the time. We hope to get back in the hunt for the championship. Although we all know we're going our separate ways at the end of the season, we're all professionals and we're going to put out 110%.
Harold Pearson of the Richmond Times-Dispatch reported this on August 6, 1989, and followed with another quote from Labonte, who was asked if he changed his mind after winning 2 of the 5 previous races. "I gave my word," he said, "and I never go back on it." The article speculated that potential sponsors for Labonte included Banquet Frozen Dinner and Folgers Coffee. This was a bold statement coming from the former champion. While the early 1990s saw an influx of owner-drivers who remained competitive, the 1980s had not yet produced the same success. Alan Kawicki in 14th was the only owner-driver to finish in the top 20 in the Winston Cup standings in 1989, but Labonte was determined to make things work.
However, as the season progressed, the reports on the potential team shifted. On October 19, 1989, Richmond Times-Dispatch writer Ben W. Blake reported a change of plans. He stated that Labonte was not able to secure a full season of sponsorship, but would take what he had and align with Richard Jackson to drive the number 55 Oldsmobile. Less than a month later, Blake reported that Labonte's plans were still up in the air and he may be driving for himself, Jackson, or even a combination of the two. As the season ended, more reports continued to come in on Terry's 1990 season plans. The St. Paul Pioneer Press's Mike Harris reported on December 3rd that Labonte, unsponsored, has a tentative 15-race deal with Leo Jackson.
After a full season of speculation, Terry finally announced his future on Tuesday, January 16, 1990. He would not be fielding his own team, but would be running the full 29-race schedule in the newly numbered number 1 car for Richard Jackson. Al Pierce of the Daily Press quoted Labonte, who explained part of the process of coming to this announcement. "I couldn't talk about this earlier because it didn't come together until early this month," he said. "I wanted to build and run my own team, but this was too good a deal to turn down. I had already hired some people, built some cars, and had started on a shop when this ride became available. Really, I couldn't have asked for a better deal."
Commenting on what went wrong with Junior Johnson, Terry did not mince words. "I'll bet we didn't speak 200 words our whole 3 years together," Labonte said, smiling grimly as he spoke. "I don't know what it was, maybe a generation gap or something like that. It wasn't all my fault, and it wasn't all Junior's. Nobody knew it wouldn't work until we got into the season." Harold Pearson, again of the Richmond Times-Dispatch, reported on just what went wrong with the team Texas Terry had planned to start. "I kinda got burned out with the city of Thomasville. I felt like at one time I almost had it done. The fact that we didn't have the building done on time might have kept it from happening, but that may have been a blessing in disguise. I'm glad it didn't."
The opportunity to team with Jackson opened up after the team's current driver, Phil Parsons, opted to leave and partner with Morgan McClure to drive the number 4 Kodak car. The deal did not work out for Parsons, who only lasted 3 races with the team. Terry remarked on Parsons' decision by saying, "If this opportunity had been there, I would have never tried to start my own team. I feel like now we have a shot at running for the championship." The team got off to a hot start, becoming the only team to top 194 miles per hour on the speed charts in preseason testing at Daytona. Labonte tested both a car he prepared himself as well as Jackson's. While the pair opted to use Jackson's car, they took the number 1 Labonte had planned to use for his own team, replacing the number 55 Parsons drove the previous year.
The partnership with Jackson continued to thrive, with Terry falling just short of capturing the Daytona 500, coming in only 1.5 car lengths behind first-time winner Derek Cope. However, things went downhill quickly from there, and the success and relationship was short-lived. Labonte only collected 3 more top 5s and finished 15th in the season standings before parting ways with the team at season's end. Trying to recreate previous success, Terry and Billy Hagan teamed back up for the 1991 season, but the magic was gone. He spent 3 more years with the team, failing to see victory lane amidst a 102-race winless drought. The 37-year-old Texan would finally snap that streak and enjoy a career resurgence starting in 1994. After joining Rick Hendrick, he drove the next 11 years for the organization in the iconic number 5 Kellogg Chevrolet, winning 12 races and capturing his second Winston Cup championship in 1996, which came over a decade after his first. Terry would go on to drive parts of 12 more seasons with various owners before ending his Hall of Fame career in 2014.
Nobody knows what would have happened if all of the pieces came together in late 1989 and the soft-spoken driver from Corpus Christi was able to form his own team. Many other successful drivers lost out on potential wins by running their own operations, and most were sold off by the late 1990s. Bill Elliott and Ricky Rudd were just 2 drivers that found more success after selling their teams and rejoining established names in the sport. While we can speculate that Terry Labonte's proposed team may have had a different ending, it's hard to argue anything could have replaced moments like these.